Hey guys, on the Forerunner server they have released a few new legendaries and 2 of them are legendary lords. Just to explain quickly how this works, again, the Forerunner server, this is not out yet on the global server. The Forerunner is kind of a test server at the moment, entirely separated. Anyway, the way this works is, at the moment we do have legendary lords, such as the lovely Morrigan right here. And there is only 1 per faction right now, with the newest one being added is Leia. She was actually only just released like weeks before global release. Anyway, they did start adding a 2nd legendary lord to each faction. They haven't completed this process yet, but they have yesterday added 2 new legendary lords to the pool for the Curse faction and for the Infernal faction. They look really cool, and in this video I'm going to go over them in detail. Just so you know, the 2nd legendary lord for each faction can only be pulled using the ancient summoning shard currency that you can only get by completing arena, buying from the arena shops. Kind of just limited sources really. You can get around 20 a month without spending money, but you can spend money, but they are excessively expensive. So it's kind of like void shards to a degree, but you do get a reasonable amount per month, but they do have only a 1% chance of giving you a legendary. Anyway, they are not in the game yet to be used. You cannot use your ancient summoning shards just yet. We are waiting for the announcement of when they're actually being introduced to the global server. Anyway, with that preface out of the way, let's have a look at the new heroes in the game. Okay, so there are 2 here that I have not seen yet. 2 new legendary mages, and they are both faction lords. And I gotta look at this guy first because he looks ridiculous. Wow, Solkiden. He's an Infernal lord and he looks it. You have to give him that. Wow, okay, fancy. Alright, let's look at Solkiden and see what he does. Magic damage as expected. So for his base stats, he has reasonable HP, but that doesn't really matter. He has decent attack. It's not bad attack at all for a mage, actually. Their base attack does tend to be a bit lower. A 2 attack speed interval, again, is quite good. And his cost is 20, which is slightly high for a mage, but a lot of the really good mages do have around 20. So let's take a look at his talent. When attacking the same target, basic attack deals increased damage. Each attack increases damage by 6% for 10 seconds, up to 10 times, and inflicts burning. Burning is a 5-second duration debuff that deals 20% magic damage per second. So it's actually quite a good debuff. It's a bit of a sneaky one, you don't notice too much. But he does gain basically 60% damage increase as long as he can make 10 attacks in 10 seconds, which I'm guessing he'll have rapid fire ability. So let's have a look. So basic attack is 80% damage to one enemy continuously. So he basically has a focused beam, I'm assuming, and every 2 seconds by default it will proc damage on the target. So that's quite an interesting one. I mean, his attack range is fairly standard for a mage. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that looks. His ultimate, Hell Breaks Loose. Fancy. It's a manually activated ultimate. It has a rage cap of 600 down to 500 at max skill ups. It has an initial rage cap of 450. So he's almost going to be immediately ready to do it, which is kind of crazy. And it lasts for 12 seconds. The talent effect increases damage by 4% for 12 seconds instead. So these stacks will be slightly less, but they'll last longer, so it's easy to build them up. And with 1 skill up, it's 5% damage, so it's a very weird way of doing it, but sure. So yeah, they're basically slightly worse stacks, but they're easier to build up. Marks 1 target with the highest HP for 10 seconds, during which all heroes will prioritize attacking them. So this is the focus fire stuff we see on all the other Infernal Lords. Upon expiring, the mark will explode, dealing 240 to 300% AoE damage. Additionally, when the hero is deployed as a lord, he gains Pyro Blitz. Faction allies join forces to attack regardless of their locations. The lord gains 40% attack and 70% crit damage attributes from participating allies and fires up energy. The total damage dealt increases according to the number of heroes on the field, and in addition deals 100% splash damage to nearby targets. This does not seem like focus fire, but I want to check. So it's different. Okay, I thought they might have reworded focus fire, but no. So he is similar in how he works to the other Infernal Lords, but it's a different mechanic. So they don't all have the same ultimate, which is quite cool. So if he has Pyro Blitz instead, where his allies join to boost him, he gains loads of attack, he gains loads of crit damage. Is it per person he gains that much? Because otherwise it wouldn't be very good if you're forcing everyone not to attack. So I assume this is stacking. 40% attack, 70% crit damage is stacking from each ally participating, and then he just nukes at 800% damage, and he also gains increased damage based on the number of allies as well, so 800% damage. So maybe it is 40%, 70%, and then up to 800% here. This part is probably the only part that scales, and then it also does splash damage to nearby targets. I don't know how I feel about it. It seems very interesting. I'd love to see it. It seems likely that the normal one is stronger. So yeah, I'm very curious how this works. It says join forces to attack. So maybe they don't focus, maybe they don't stop attacking. It'll be interesting to see exactly how this works. The wording isn't great in my opinion, especially when there's another thing from the other Infernal Lords which is kind of similar. So I'd love to see how this functions in the game. It could be very, very strong. I think it probably is very strong. Okay, let's move on to his passives. Synergy Blaze. Upon inflicting burning, which he can do easily from his talent, there is a 15% chance to gain 1 fiery essence stacking up to 4 times. During the next ultimate, every essence deals 60% extra damage. Wow, okay. So he can increase that by quite a lot. The damage multiplier can increase that to 80%. The damage multiplier can increase that to 80% per stack, so it's 320% bonus damage. So this guy is going to be a massive single target nuke. I'm guessing he'll be another guild boss slayer, like absolutely just annihilating guild boss. Yeah, 15% chance goes up to 35% chance. That's really powerful. He's a really strong character from what I can see. So finally, he has the Hellfire Emperor. Becomes immune to burning damage. I don't know when that matters. After talent effect, so this one, inflicts burning, there is a 20 up to 30% chance to increase their received burning damage by 20 up to 30%. So that seems a bit random to me. He has basically a third chance to increase the burning damage by a third after inflicting burning. Just, I don't know, that seems useless as a passive to me. Like, I mean, it's damage is damage, but I don't know. I don't like stuff like this. It feels kind of flat, so I like the rest of his kit. The kit looks cool. This is a bit uninspiring to me, but hey, it's fine. So finally, these faction lords, although they are the second for the same faction, the second legendary lords for the same faction, they do get unique skills. They get unique abilities. So, Feast of Devastation. Increases faction allies' basic attributes by 15%. When Lord Solkiden casts Hell Breaks Loose, his ultimate, all faction allies gain penetration increase, so 30% penetration of defense and magic defense, and they deal 30% extra damage to elites and bosses for 10 seconds. Okay, so it doesn't force them to channel, otherwise why would it give them bonus damage? So his ultimate is kind of like the existing focus fires, except it doesn't block your existing allies from attacking, I assume. Instead, he gains a bunch of damage and does a massive nuke, and his allies gain damage to elites and bosses. They also gain the penetration increase, but I think all of the lords do this right now in the Infernal faction. So yeah, he seems crazy good. He seems really good, actually. His ultimate not restricting his allies from attacking is really nice. It's a lot easier for guild boss, to be honest, because otherwise sometimes your focus fire timing is a bit too late, and then your nuke fires off after the devastating spit has finished, and you don't break the shield, and you get ruined. So this looks pretty good to me. I think he has a very good kit. I like his ultimate. I would love to see how he functions in game. But let's take a look at his awakening just to finish this off. So first awakening, targets marked with the ultimate will be inflicted with vulnerability to physical and magical damage of 25%. So similar to the other Infernal Lords. They all do this during their channeling their ultimates, but they do need awakening 1, which is kind of crazy. I would suggest saving any legendary Sage Soul Stones you may get from future guild boss runs if you are ever fortunate enough to pull a legendary lord. The second one is 5% attack, and it also enhances the allies' damage to elites and bosses. Yeah, he's a real boss killer, 100% boss killer. Awakening 3 for every 1 burning on targets, increases the hero's damage by 5% up to 35%. He gets so many damage increases, it's hard to keep track. 4th awakening, 8% crit rate, and 5th awakening if somehow you really, you wail so hard that you just buy the company. When the talent's damage increase effect maxes out, each basic attack launched extends the duration of all burning on the target for 1 second. Okay, it says all burning. Oh wow, okay, I just realized. So something about burning. Burning effects from different sources can coexist. So you could build a burn team. I've never seen it, but it sounds like it would work. Burn is not a weak effect. It's not crazy strong, but if you can keep extending it and you can keep stacking it from different sources, it could potentially be quite good. Because each basic attack would keeping them going, right? And if he's attacking fast enough, he can keep them going until they're refreshed, most likely. Okay, yeah, Solkiden looks really good to me. He looks really good. He looks fascinating. I think you can build some crazy teams of him as well. I'll be adding all these heroes to my tier list with preliminary guesses on their ratings. I'll probably be a bit conservative initially. Okay, so now the next legendary lord that's been introduced, which is for the Curse faction. Demi, her name is, and she looks really cool, actually. I quite like this. She's got her sandals on. She almost looks like she's from Greek mythos, down in hell with Hades kind of get up. Some brambles around her as well. Some skeleton hands for shoulder pads. I like the design. I think she looks cool. She's got a drum as well. It looks like she's got holes in it though, so I don't know how good it is. Anyway, so let's see what Demi can do. Let's have a look at her base hero details. So that's interesting. I've not seen a mage that has this attack range before. She has pretty good base HP for a mage. She has kind of average attack for a mage. She has pretty high cost for a mage. 21 is quite high cost. And 2.7 attack interval is on the higher side, but maybe it's even average because mages do tend to have a higher base attack interval. So yeah, interesting. Multi-attack, burst damage, decent enough base stats from what we can see. So let's start things off. Talent. Gains invisibility permanently, but reduces max HP by 30% during battle. So she has great base HP, but she reduces her HP by 30%. It seems kind of weird. And she has specialized attack speed. So this is a new thing they're trying that they've introduced. It's not on global yet. Specialized attack speed is basically a flag that they give to certain heroes, and it means that they gain more from attack speed than other heroes do. It seems like a weird way of doing it, but hey, it makes attack speed all the more relevant on certain heroes, so you may want to take an attack speed necklace on her, for example. So we'll see exactly what she does first, but she's permanently invis, which is really nice. So first attack inflicts a 50% slow to up to 6 to 10 enemies in range. She's a cursed lord, and she just by default slows up to 10 people for 50% in an interesting range, to be fair. That's interesting. That's a pretty big slow to a lot of enemies in a pretty interesting range. But it doesn't say it does damage. Does she not do damage? There's no like X percentage damage. I'm assuming she does damage. If she doesn't do damage, that's odd. Okay. Second thing, her ultimate, Elegy of Ruin. Manual ultimate, 1200 rage cap down to 1000. 600 starting rage, it lasts for 15 seconds. She removes her invisibility temporarily and plays the Elegy of Ruin. Basic attacks deal 170%. Basic attacks deal 170% damage to at most 10 targets in range, and the damage can increase. Wow, to 270% damage. So 10 people, 270% damage. She has a reasonable attack, base attack. So that's interesting. And she inflicts slow again, a really good slow, and she heal blocks. So that's interesting. Her attack range won't allow her to reach across the whole lane in GR1. She could only cover 2 out of 3 tiles wide in the stages where you need this. So that's interesting. You would need to pull enemies towards her or push them towards her with an Aeon or a Maul. I don't know how effective that would be, but it's interesting. So for 15 seconds, you just want to blat things out, basically, with rapid attack. So you do really want attack speed to make the most out of this, especially with her specialized attack. That'll be interesting. Really interesting there. Okay, let's have a look at her other passives. Waltz of Doom. During Elegy of Ruin, every time an enemy in basic attack range dies, increases attack speed by 14, stacking up to 5 times, and this increase can be 20 at max skill ups, and the stacks can go to 10. That is a lot. That's 200 attack speed increase, assuming you've got 10 enemies killed, and it lasts until her ultimate ends. So for 15 seconds, enemies that die in her range, she doesn't have to kill them. She gains attack speed, which will allow her to play even faster. Okay, that's quite cool. I like it. That's a clever naming as well. And her second passive, Twilight Covenant, when invisible, reduces damage taken by 15%, and that can go up to 25%. And during her ultimate Elegy of Ruin, each time the hero attacks, she restores 5% HP. This is weird. I don't get her, to be honest. So when you place her normally, it sounds like she's just a ward. You sit her somewhere, she's invisible, and she slows people near them. And that's all she does. Like, literally, that's all she does. And when she ultimates, she pulses rapid damage, she debuffs with 2 great debuffs, she increases her attack speed to pulse faster, and she heals herself a bit. And then her ultimate runs out after 15 seconds, and she goes back to being a slow ward. Super weird hero. Super weird hero. I mean, fantastic in conjunction with, like, most of the Curse team. She's more like a utility, but, I mean, it seems like her ultimate can just annihilate people. So, yeah, I'm uncertain about things. 2.7 attack interval, but with specialized attack speed. That means that you can actually probably get her down to nearly a second attack. So, 15 instances of this attack would make her actually kind of ridiculous. But, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how she's built. Her kit is interesting, but it's just weird. It's really weird. So let's take a look. She is a cultist leader, a legendary lord. 15% stats as usual. Bonus damage to CC'd enemies as usual, the same amount as Morrigan. However, there is a third bonus, which is Morrigan's is just bonus AoE damage, but for Demi, when faction allies kill an enemy, increases their damage by 12% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So it can increase their damage by 36% so long as they've killed enemies within 5 seconds. I think this is actually quite good. There's a lot of allies in the Cultist faction that are really good in Gear Raid 1, but they struggle to just get the final bit of damage out. And getting 1 or 2 kills in Gear Raid 1 can really make the difference and make that happen. So I think she looks pretty good. She's definitely offensive focused, but she can apply 2 really good debuffs. The slow, although it doesn't seem amazing, it will basically permanently enable her 30% damage bonus for allies, which is good. The anti-healing block is fantastic in Gear Raid 1 as well, and she's granting allies bonus damage when they kill stuff. So she's definitely more of a support-focused mage. And she's very easy to place because she just needs to be able to slow the enemies. She doesn't need to be near allies, really. I don't know if I would focus her as my main DPS. It does depend how she shakes out, really. But she's only going to be doing damage in these windows, and she has a high rage cap. So it's interesting. She's interesting for sure. Let's have a look at her awakenings. So Awakening 1, when invisible, restores 5% of max HP per second. I don't understand all this HP restore. I think it's because they want you to be able to place her away from everyone else without a healer. But I don't see why that matters so much. And she's invisible anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Second Awakening, 15% crit damage and faction AoE damage is 5% bonus. So that's a nice one. Awakening 3, during her ultimate Elegy of Ruin, deals 50% extra damage to targets with HP below 40%. It seems good. Her ultimate does seem really good. It's just, if she's not doing damage normally, I don't know about it. Her 4th Awakening, 8% to all damage is good. And her 5th Awakening, during her ultimate, if the attack speed from Waltz of Doom reaches full stacks, deals 500% AoE damage to at most 10 enemies within the basic attack range for one time after Elegy of Ruin ends. So basically, if she has killed 10 enemies during her Elegy of Ruin, she will then release a 500% AoE nuke after it ends. That seems good. That seems pretty good. Bear in mind, she's slowing everything all the time. So these numbers you're seeing, the multipliers you're seeing, you have to consider that they'll be added 30% as well because of her Legendary Lord bonus. And she's probably getting damage from killing stuff too. Overall, Demi does seem very good. So there's two pretty strong Legendary Lords that have been introduced to the game. They both seem very strong. They both seem really cool. Out of the two of them, I am most interested in Solkiden's, to be honest. He looks cool. I'm interested to see how his beam works. I would love to see how his ultimate works. But I like this. They seem like new heroes. They seem different. If you haven't followed my channel for very long, I tend to complain quite a bit when they add new heroes if the heroes are a bit bland. But these heroes seem like they're quite interesting, so I would really like to see them in game. Anyway, that's it for that video showing you the new Legendary Lords. I will, of course, update you guys as soon as we learn when Ancient Shards are actually going to be summonable in our global server. As I've said, right now you cannot use them in the global server, but hopefully sometime soon, as it would be cool to start being able to use them as we are slowly stockpiling them. Anyway, that is it for this video. If you have any questions, do leave them below and I will get back to you. Have a great day, guys. Take care, and bye-bye.